Yo, what is up guys, it's Pedro here, and in today's video I'll be talking about the Washington Commanders setting a combine meeting with top running back Ashton Jeanty. We'll talk about why I believe this is possibly a big deal and why it could mean that the Commanders are thinking about taking a running back in the first round, at least definitely day 2 or day 3. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button and that notification bell as well, so you never miss a video. Trying to hit 16K subscribers next. Just hit 15K. It's free. It takes 1 second. Let's get right into it. So, combine interviews do mean a little bit. You know, you go to the Senior Bowl, every team gets an interview with every player, I believe. But with the combine, it's different. I believe they get 60. I think I looked it up. 60. Interviews for these guys or something, or 30 or 60. You get a limited amount, and then they get top 30 visits or 30 visits, whatever you want to call it. They get those as well. So that's later, they can come to the facility and stuff like that. That's even, a bigger indicator of if, they're interested in a player or not, or at least, it means they're either interested in the player, they want to learn more about the medicals or the person, maybe there's some character concerns. But let's talk about Ashton Jeanty, who is, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinion, the number one back in this class. I think there's some people that think Omarion Hampton's better, or Travion Henderson. They're all in the same tier. I still think Jeanty's number one. He's a stud. I mean, he was absolutely amazing at Boise State this past year. And yeah, Commanders are bringing him in for a visit, or not bringing him in for a visit, but there will be a combine meeting with Ashton Jeanty. So like I said, that could be three things. One, they're really interested in the player, and they want to see if he's worth taking, especially with Jeanty, where he's not going to be there at 29. So if the Commanders are going to get him, he's going to either have to fall heavy, which I don't think is going to happen, or they're going to have to trade up for him. So there might be like, what? Let's research him as much as possible and see if he is really worth trading up for. Like if he, we probably don't want to do it, but hey, if he really amazes us in these meetings, and we might have to. That's one. Two is some injury concerns that they have, and they just want to clear it up. And then number three is, character concerns. I would say it's most likely number one. See if, is there a possibility of us taking him? And we're going to see in this meeting if, he really blows us away. I mean, look, the stats do. The stats do. This year, almost 400 carries, over 2,600 yards, 7 yards a carry, 29 touchdowns, 5'9", 215 pounds from Florida. Let's see. He also had 23 catches, 138 yards, and a touchdown. And I didn't really know this, but I mean, look at 2023. He actually was a receiving back, 43 catches, almost 600 yards, and 5 touchdowns. He had 30 total touchdowns in 2024. In my opinion, should have won the Heisman, but I understand why they gave it to Travis Hunter. But Ashton Jeanty had an outstanding year. Some people might say, oh, it's just against bad competition, but no. I mean, he had good games against good competition. I mean, the Penn State game wasn't great for him, but he's still, like, if you watch that game, he was getting some tough yards. UNLV top 20 team had 200 yards on them. Oregon State, like, not a bad team, like not an awful team, 226 yards. But you look at like Oregon, who was one of the top teams this year, 25 carries, 192 yards, and what is that? Is that 3 touchdowns? Yeah, 3 touchdowns. So he was a stud in that game and the whole season. So yeah, people are going to bring up the competition stuff, but, for the most part, he's done a really good job at it. In terms of fumbles lost, he had, 1, 2, 3, including the playoff game that he lost. So not a huge deal. You would like to see that a little bit lower, but the amount of carries he's getting, 374 carries, 3 fumbles lost, and it's not a huge deal. 374 carries is absolutely insane. I mean, he was just getting, like, look at this, 30, 32, 37, 32, 34. Like he had 6 games straight of 30 plus carries. I mean, that's a huge workload for him. That's a huge workload for him, and you know, surprised it didn't take a toll on him. Some people might be like, oh, it's too many carries to go in the NFL with, but I think it's fine. He played what, 3 years, and I mean, he did have a lot of carries each year, but you know, a lot of players come in with 4 or 5 years, so he'll be fine. And you know, didn't have a ton of carries in his freshman year, but yeah, Ashton Jeanty would be a great pick for the Commanders at 29. It's just not going to happen. I don't think he's going to fall there. I would say he's probably going top 10. It's a weaker class in general. Make sure I exit that out. Don't want any copyright issues, but it's a weaker class in general, you know, in the NFL. So the running backs might go a little bit higher than they normally do because, you know, there are some elite running backs in this class that normally would go pretty high, and this class might go a little bit higher than some expect. I would say Jeanty probably a top 10 pick. The lowest I see him falling is like where the Cowboys are at, which is like 12. And even then, I don't know if, you know, he'll get there. Could see the Raiders getting him, you know, some other, maybe even the Patriots would be crazy, but like they need a running back, or they could add a running back to help out their young rookie QB. So I'm not saying he's going to go top 5, but I wouldn't be super surprised at it, and definitely won't be surprised if he goes top 10. But so, you know, if the Commanders are going to get him, they're going to have to trade up for him. That really is the gist of it. It also could mean they're just interested in upgrading the running back position in general, and that shouldn't be a surprise. Brian Robinson was not that good this year. You know, the offensive line also didn't, you know, do him a lot of favors, but still, I think they need an upgrade at running back. Jeanty would be great. Omarion Hampton would be good. Travion Henderson would be good as well. You know, my guy Bashal Tutin from Virginia Tech, I like him as well. Maybe on, you know, late day 2, early day 3, he would be a good option as well. There's a lot of good running backs. You know, Cam Scatabo, I would pass on him. I don't think the fit in terms of what I want in a running back for the Commanders. I want more of a, you know, quicker guy, you know, unless he has insane other elite traits like Jeanty does. And Genty's not slow, but Scatabo is not the fastest guy. And not super agile. Other stuff, so you know, we talked about the Jeanty. The Commanders, you know, they got the NFLPA report card, and their grades went up a lot. You know, new ownership, new stuff happens. Treatment of families went up from an F- to a B+. Food went from a D+ to a B+. Nutrition and diet, I guess, went down, you know, very slightly. Locker room slightly up. You know, stuff like that. It's harder for them to upgrade in 1 year. You know, it takes time, but slightly upgraded there. Training room upgraded from an F- to a C+. Training staff F to a B+. Weight room C to a B-. Strength coaches AA. And yeah, both A's. Team travel F to an A. That's probably the biggest improvement. Head coach C to an A+, the only A+ they got. And then ownership B to an A. I don't know exactly where they ranked, but it was pretty high, especially compared to last year where they were dead last. So good improvement, and I expect it to continue. Like locker room will progressively get better. Training room, same thing, and some of the other stuff as well. But that's good news, and it shows the ownership group that they have in place and how much of a difference it really does make. Let's see. I'm trying to think of any other things. That's really it. Jair Alexander is, you know, in trade talks. I don't see that as a fit here. I mean, there's a possibility, of course, there always is, but I would probably pass on it just because you already have Lattimore, who is an aging cornerback with injury issues, and Jair is the same thing. I would say Jair's a little better for sure, but he's also aging, also has injury issues all the time. I would not do that. I would not do that right now. But, you know, if they didn't trade for Lattimore, then maybe that's a possibility. But with Lattimore, I just don't see it right there. And then Harold Landry, there's some trade talks with him. Maybe the Commanders could get him as like a, you know, pass rushing linebacker, you know, edge rusher. He's a possibility as well. And that really is it. Dan Quinn talked at the combine today. Nothing crazy. I believe Lance Newmark is going to talk too, but nothing crazy from those guys. Adam Peters talked yesterday, made a video about that. Go ahead and check that out. But yeah, that's it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace.